Today we're painting Hessian Jäger skirmishers from the Epic Revolution box set. The Jägers were elite light infantry from the German states who supplied troops to the British during the American War of Independence. Unlike regular line infantry, Jägers specialised in scouting, skirmishing and fighting across difficult terrain. So for this unit I have glued the miniatures onto the bases in a variety of positions. The first thing to do was to add some texture to the base using PVA glue and sand. The sand used today is in fact actually bird sand, which you can pick up at your local pet store. This is a great basing material because it contains a mixture of fine sand and small broken crushed up shells, creating a much more uneven surface and giving us some small rocks and stones once they're painted. The Hessian Jägers were then undercoated with a spray of Army Painter Oak Brown. Before we start painting the miniatures themselves, the groundwork was dry brushed. Now some of you may choose to do this towards the end of the project, and that is absolutely fine. However, with the miniatures at this scale, it can be much easier to complete this step now. And for some of us that can be a little bit too enthusiastic when dry brushing, this is also a safer stage to do it. If any paint catches the feet or the lower areas of the miniature, then it won't matter, because those sections still need to be painted anyway. The dark green jackets were the first major area to paint, and for this we'll use an Army Painter Angel Green. For most of this video I'll be using an Army Painter detail brush, although you could easily use a slightly larger regiment brush for some of those larger areas. Whatever feels most comfortable for you to use at this scale. At this stage don't worry too much about getting paint onto the straps or the equipment, those areas will be painted later. The rifles were next. And these are the slightly shorter German hunting rifles, rather than the much longer muskets and bayonets carried by the line infantry from the starter set. These rifles were picked out using Banshee Brown. The cocked hats and boots were painted next with matte black. Again, not worrying too much if the black paint goes onto other areas such as the gaiters on the legs, but do try and avoid getting any onto the painted base texture. If you do, then no worries. Just tidy this up later with some oak brown at the very end. For the skin, we'll switch over to a Wargamer character brush, as the finer tipped point makes picking out the hands and the face much easier. Amber skin was used here, as it provides a nice pale tone that contrasts really well against the green jackets. It will also give us some variation compared to the line infantry painted in the previous video. So if you wish, you could mix the different skin tones throughout your army to create a bit more variety overall. Later in this series, we'll also be using different skin tones once more when painting the Indian skirmishers. Whilst the green paint was still on the palette, I used the same character brush to pick out the cockades or ribbons on the hats. Black is also seen in historical references, but at this epic scale, adding that extra bit of spot colour helps the details stand out more nicely on the tabletop. The off-white breeches were then base coated using grey castle. German Jägers of the American Revolution often wore knee-length breeches with gaiters, rather than full-length trousers, giving them that distinctive 18th century light infantry appearance, and great for our skirmishing troops. The next stage is probably the most time-consuming part of the base coating, and that's painting all of the leather equipment. The belts, bags and cartridge boxes all need a little more care, as now we want to avoid getting paint onto the areas that we have already completed, like the green jacket. Many German Jäger units serving through the American War of Independence are shown wearing practical campaign clothing, and there are also some references showing some brown gaiters or leather leggings. And after looking through various references, I decided to go for the more rugged, campaign-worn appearance, imagining what these soldiers are like after spending a long time in the field. Black gaiters are also a perfectly valid choice, and I also painted a test miniature here for you as reference, so you can choose whichever style best suits your army. The red details on the jacket are the facings. These contrasting coloured areas, such as the cuffs and the collar, were then painted on using a dragon red. Going for a slightly brighter red colour at this stage creates a nice contrast against the greens and the browns already on the miniature. Visually, it will make them more striking to look at on the tabletop at that scale. And now it's time to pick out the metal fittings for the rifles. Using the fine-tipped character brush here, plate mail metal was applied onto the barrel and the lock areas, whilst a brighter gold colour was used to represent the brass fittings on the rifles. At this scale, brighter metallic colours work really well because they help the eye pick out the smaller details, so a little bit of artistic license was used here. And a neat bit of added detail here is one of the miniatures on the strip is carrying a horn, which is a lovely bit of sculpted detail even at this epic scale. A few different hair colours were also added across the unit, making sure that they were different from the other colours already used on the miniature, just to add some variety. With the base coats complete, our Hessian Jäger skirmishers are looking pretty good, but they are still looking far too clean for soldiers who have been campaigning in the field for some time. So with that, the next step is to add a couple of washes to bring out the details and give the miniatures a more weathered, battle-worn appearance. The first of which was warm skin tone. This was applied over the flesh, the red details, leather equipment and breeches. This helps bring out the details across the miniature while adding a warmer, more aged tone. Washes and shade paints are one of those magical hobby steps that instantly brings miniatures to life. With very little effort, they add shading, depth and definition across the model. Next up was dark tone, and this was applied to the rifles and also the green jackets to create deeper shadows. When applying it onto the jacket, focus the wash into the natural shaded areas, such as underneath the arms, as well as the areas between the jacket and the equipment bags and straps. This will add some extra shaded areas without making the entire jacket appear too dark. Now that the washes are complete, our Jägers have that perfect campaign-ready look. However, with only 25 models in the force, and each miniature being an individual skirmisher, rather than being part of a larger line infantry formation, every model is much more visible from both the front and the back. That makes a great opportunity to add a few extra highlights and really help the details stand out, should you wish to. The breeches were given another layer of the original grey castle colour to brighten them back up. Care was taken to leave the darker shaded areas in the recesses untouched. A thin shadow line of brown was also painted on between the breeches and the gaiters to help separate the two materials a little more clearly. Paratrooper tan was next, and this was used as a highlight on the gaiters and the equipment bags. The straps were left alone as the contrast between them and the green jacket was already more than enough. The bags, however, benefited from a little extra attention. As the highlight was painted on, this would help define the actual shape of the bag and make those details stand out a little more clearly, especially on such a small scale. Green skin was added as a highlight to the jackets and the cockades on the hats. There's no need to pick out every single fold in the cloth, should you wish. The highlights were focused on the areas that would naturally catch the light the most, such as the shoulders and the elbows. And for the highlight on the black caps, deep grey was used. This one is a really worthwhile step, as it instantly helps to define the shape of the cap, which is great when we're wargaming because we're probably going to be looking down at a bird's eye view of the miniatures. A useful tip is to hold the miniatures at arm's length before highlighting, and this might actually help you to decide which areas you might want to focus on and which areas you might leave, and then save that time for something else. And now for the basing. To finish off the strips for the miniatures, leather brown was used for the base rims. This was done before adding any flock or static grass, rather than afterwards, to avoid having to paint over any stray bits of grass or flock which will inevitably find their way onto the edge of the base. Once everything was completely dry, patches of PVA glue were added across the groundwork, leaving some of the brown still visible underneath. For these epic scale miniatures, a slightly muted autumnal green static grass was chosen, rather than a brighter green colour. However, this can be total personal preference, or you might have an army that might be on a specific campaign and the grass and foliage might be a different colour. And of course, no bit of ground cover is complete without a few extra bushes and shrubs, so some woodland scenic foliage was added to finish off the base and give them that extra touch of battlefield character. Be sure to check out the rest of the Revolution playlist on the Warlord Games YouTube channel for more painting tutorials.